For the next assignment, we have mini lesson 2, and this is student acknowledgement and agreement. You are required to watch the following videos and take handwritten notes. By selecting yes below, I can confirm that I will read and fully understand the course requirement that I must take written notes either by hand or digitally while watching each assigned video. I acknowledge that simply watching the videos passively without creating my own notes is not sufficient to meet expectations of this course. I agree to actively engage with the material by writing down key concepts, main ideas, examples, definitions, explanations, timestamps when helpful, and any questions of observations I have during or immediately after each. I understand that these notes are intended to support my learning, assist with retention, and may be referenced for assignments. I agree to complete this note-taking requirement for every required video in this course. Do you understand and agree to the above requirement? And I click yes. And then for the video, it is true or false. Watch the full video. What is academic writing? 7 features of academic writing. And so for that, I actually put, I have notes right here. So for here, I have what is academic writing, definition, which communicates ideas, information, and research to the wider academic community. And then I put student academic writing, expert academic writing, what assessment of at university for school to prepare for uni. And I put audience, tutors or professors, purpose, demonstrate learning. And then on the right side, I did writing for publication, academic journal or book, or other experts in the field, create new knowledge. And then I have features, structured, evidence, critical, precise, balanced, objective, and informal. And then for structure, to have coherent, logical progression of cohesive different parts of clearly connected reference words, then transition signals. And then for evidence, I have opinions and arguments in academic writing should be supported by evidence, facts, reasons, examples, statistics, and citations. I did precise. Sometimes such vocabulary may need defining, and then the term is not commonly used by other experts. You need to demonstrate understanding. To tutor student writing, balanced academic writing should be consideration to all sides of the issues and avoid bias. And academic writers should show how strong their claims are. This is often done using hedges, boosters, objective emphasis. Emphasis is placed on the arguments and information rather than on the writer. Example would be instead of I heated the water was heated. In my opinion, it can be seen by that. And then formal academic writing tends to use more complex sentences to avoid contradictions and concludal informal words. And so from there, I watched the full video, and then for here, I actually just went over these notes are actually connected to these notes as well. So I watched that video, click yes, and then write an academic citation in citation style. In that video, the lady goes over citation styles and formatting. A citation is a reference to source you've used in your work. It acknowledges that you borrowed information or ideas from another author or publication. There are 2 main parts to a citation: complete citation, a reference to the source you cited in your essay, usually listed at the end of your essay. And then in-text citation is a brief note within the body of your essay that indicates where you found the information. The most common academic style guides are MLA, Humanities, Literature, Philosophy, Language, APA, Science, Psychology, Education, Sociology, and in Chicago is Fine Arts, Business, Law, and Music. And actually, there's a few other assignments that I'm gonna end up using and showing the use of these 2 formats, MLA and APA. So, and then did you watch this full video? Yes. And then for this next video is setting up MLA format paper in Google Docs step by step to to be honest, I've already done this. I actually have papers that are already set up in MLA format that I'm going to show in the next assignments. So I didn't necessarily put notes for this one because I already have done this. But I did watch the video, yes. And then at the bottom we have set up APA, same thing for this one. I've already done this. Did you watch the full video? Yes. And then for here, this is just like an example or a diagram of what APA and MLA is. APA, American Psychological Association, and then MLA is Modern Language Association. There's a big difference in the two. Intake citations are different. Like one will be last name, like one will be the author, APA's author, year, page. MLA is author, page. Reference APA, references MLA, works cited. APA, author, last name, first name is just the first initial. MLA is last name, first name, not the initial. And then capitalization sources would be citation sources, a quick guide for students. And then for MLA, cited sources, a quick guide for students. Title page required, no title page required. There's actually two assignments. Well, not two assignments, but there's assignments that I will do that are based off of these two types of format. And then, do you understand above? I click yes. Then here we have true or false. This is MLA format, MLA 8 citation, print a newspaper article. Pretty much just giving you an understanding of how to do a MLA 8 citation, and it just gives you examples on this little example, like author's last name, first name, title of newspaper article, California water, Curling, new development, New York Times, June 7, 2008, and then it shows the page, day, month, and then newspaper. And then this is just more basic MLA formatting, general formatting. Use readable fonts, Times New Roman 12 PT. Keep 1 inch margin. Center title, no bolds. And then in-text citation will be author's last name, page number. Example, Mary 29. If no author, shorten the title. And then for the works cited title is centered. Use hanging indent and follow alphabetical order. And then here we have do not insert header, insert the page number. Always insert page number and your last name on the header. If you're ever gonna do it in this format, always do it. That's something that I learned in this class. And then on the left side, we have, it can be the student's name, professor's name on the second side. Third side will be the class, and then the fourth side would be the year. Usually people put May 11th and then 2018, but for this particular format, you have to put the day first, then the month, and then the year instead. That's just how it is. That's just how the format's supposed to be. And then here, we can have the title over here, right here, writing a process comparing Murray, Berlin, Volkswagen. Usually you put like something right there, and then indent paragraph by hitting tab. Make sure that whenever you do a paragraph, make sure that it's always double space. And then it asks me, do you understand the above? And I click yes. But that's pretty much everything for mini lesson 2. I'm gonna show you the next assignment. So the next assignment is going to be group activity 1. This will be our first ever group activity assignment that I did with my classmates. And I'm pretty much just gonna give a walkthrough on how I did it. So first things first, at the bottom we have photo locations all required. Your group must take one group photo of each of the following locations. And pretty much all we did was, we stood out. We did our classroom, stand outside the room, the room number visible, did that. And then the library entrance must be clear and visible. Entrance must be clear and visible. entrance or store signage must be visible. Student lounge, take the photo inside the lounge and show in the room background. Student center, take the photo inside the lounge and show the room background. Assessment center, outside only, ensure the official entrance or sign is shown. And then we have learning success center, outside, take a photo, pretty much. And then Wiggins office room, 207 and 205. And pretty much from here, all we're doing is just taking pictures and showing what locations we're at, and just taking pictures next to signs. And then group members will be, each person must write their names on their group members of their own paper. We have Keisha, Alexis, Takira, and Jake, and then me. And then I'm gonna move on to the next page. Now for here, it says the purpose of the scavenger hunt is designed to help become familiar with key campus resources you will use throughout the semester and beyond. You will work collaboratively to navigate campus spaces, document your experience. Group requirement, your group will work in groups assigned in class. Everyone in a group must appear in the photo. Items marked outside the entrance signage or clearly identifiable. Entrance of each location must be visible in the background. Each group member must have immediate access to all photos, share folder, group chat, AirDrop, Google Drive, etc. Photos will be required for a future class activity, so do not rely on one person to keep them. And then it says tips, share photos with all group members as soon as they are taken. Photos, rules, read carefully. All groups members must be clearly visible in every photo. No filters or heavy editing, no screenshots or stock images. If a location is closed, take a photo outside the entrance, send is visible. Completion is dismissal. Once the group has completed all photos and shared with every group member, you are done for the day. You are returned to the classroom. That was just something simple, but the real deal assignment is this one right here. So step 1 of the assignment, individual evaluation in 10 minutes. Use TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook for the following. Download at least one of the 2 of these apps. Students will independently watch videos from their assignment and their creators' accounts. Please do this quickly, 10 minutes. And then for the creators that I used Dr. Dakota Tyler, which is he's a guy that goes over like astronomy and space. And then the gardening theologian. I'm sorry, that's a mouthful. He goes over like Christianity, him and his wife. They go over, talks about Christianity, things like that. And then Nick Young's life, he goes over a multitude of different things. But actually for this assignment, me and my group agreed on picking Nick Young's life. And I'm gonna actually screen record an example of what video that we took for him.
I want you to consider the fact that Black people, by and large, already have overwhelming reticence around assistance towards mental health. There's far too many of us who have lived through trauma, have had to deal with the lacerations of childhood wounds, won't sit on the couch, won't talk to a professional, won't seek help, because somehow we have made therapy synonymous with being crazy, as opposed to it being a tributary to being balanced.
But yeah, that was just a little video that we use for this group activity. But I'm gonna just keep going over and reviewing more and more on here. So objective, students will analyze short-term form video content from TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Creators using rhetorical appeals, ethos, pathos, logos, assess credibility, evaluate the content of potential community impact, and the role in combating misinformation. Activity overview, students analyze short form social media videos using rhetorical appeals, ethos, pathos, logos, assess creator credibility, and evaluate the content's community impact and role in addressing misinformation. The activity includes individual charting, collaborative presentation, and discussion. Goals for the media literacy activity are remembering students to recall definitions, examples of ethos, pathos, logos, creator credentials, types of information, And then understanding students explain how rhetorical appeals and credibility function within specific social media videos. And then applying students apply the rhetorical framework, ethos, pathos, logos, and basic research to analyze non-traditional texts like TikTok, Instagram videos, analyzing student breakdown videos to examine the relationship between rhetorical appeals and creative credentials, evidence, and potential misinformation. Evaluating students judge the effectiveness of the creator's rhetorical, overall credibility, community impact, and the ability to debunk misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. Creating students synthesize their analysis into a cohesive group presentation that argues the video's societal value. How this activity serves English 1101 goals. Rhetorical analysis practice A1 treats social media as complementary articles/essays for method of development analysis. Critically thinking and source evaluation builds information literacy and critical evaluation skills essential for research papers C1 and C2. Communication skills, the required group presentation. Every member speaks, practice clear, organized delivery of analysis. A key bridge to academic writing and oral reporting. Revision style B. The chart and presentation prep encourages clear, coherent expression and can be extended with a written component for full B alignment. And then for here we have presentation structure recommended 4 to 6 minutes total per group. Note overlapping noun sections cannot be the same question. Choose a different one. So for member one, they're going to introduce the creator, video link, summarize the credentials section, explain how the group knows and verifies the credentials, bio external sources, consistency across videos, etc. Explain what ethos and pathos and logos is, as well as how it shows up in the content. And then Ty's doing this one. She did that one. And then member two answered one question from authorship purpose. Keisha did that one. And then for content economics, I did that one. For technique, format, and interpretation, Jake did that one. And for responses, credibility, Alexis did that one. And then to go furthermore on the back, for what I selected, for what I wanted to say in the video and speak on, I did economics, who makes money from this, and content. What does this want me to think or think about? And it's pretty much based off of the topic that we picked, which was Nick Young's life, and he explains why Black people avoid therapy. You know, he's a licensed therapist, and yeah, there is a video that's posted for this assignment, and I'll put like a little clip in it because I don't want the clip to be too long, but I'll put a little clip in there. On the insurance, you know, just creating more trust with the institutions. I think with a few of those things, plus modern day social media and time, people will be more willing to give therapy a shot, especially Black people. But over here, so I'm pretty much gonna go over the step 2 evaluation chart. And this is a licensed therapist explains why Black people avoid therapy, Nick Young's life. And then for the platform and date, I did Instagram, June 6, 2026. And I picked ethos, Wikipedia, Samuel Cartwright, 1850s physician, UCA says me, Dorwick, February 2019, little citation, and where I got the information from and where you can find the information. Pathos, fear of being judged, mistrust, vulnerability, because, you know, therapy in general, you know, Black people could feel like that. And that's the emotional appeal behind it. And then for logos, we have evidence, causes, statistics, the bad history behind it. And then credentials would be a speaker has credentials as a licensed therapist, because in the video he says he's a licensed therapist. How credentials are shown by or verified by you. On top of the screen, it captioned the speaker also says it. And then for the next box, I have Fear-Based Christianity by the Garden Logan. Instagram, May 7th was when the video was posted, 2026. Ethos, he speaks from personal experience, which can make people view him as knowledgeable about the topic. And then Pathos is fear, hope, relief, judgment, and frustration. And then for Logos, he argues that people are more likely to develop a relationship with God when motivated by love rather than fear. And then Credentials would be his content mostly engages in religious content. His account name and the credentials would be his account name, and he references biblical ideas because his page is mostly just Christianity stuff. And then for the third box, Age of the Universe Explained by Dr. Dakota Tyler, posted on Instagram, June 4th, 2026. Being a PhD, the ethos, credibility, and trustworthiness would be that he is being a PhD astrophysicist who specializes in astronomy and space, because that's mostly what he talks about on his page. And then for Pathos, emotional appeal, curiosity, inspiration, and excitement. And then for Logos, logic, evidence, and reasoning, I did scientific evidence, cause and effect, explanations. And then for creator credentials, I did having a PhD in astronomy and science. And then for how credentials are shown, verified by you, I did he has a doctor in his name, which means he has a doctoral degree. But yeah, that's pretty much everything gone over about the group activity assignment. I'm going to move on to the next assignment now.